Some of the most exciting revelations have now come out thanks to this court case of the lawsuit against COPA versus Craig Wright. COPA is the Cryptocurrency Open Patent Alliance versus Craig Wright, who is always not only claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto, but taking people to court over that dispute. And what's come out now recently is COPA has called on previous early Bitcoiners who have personal correspondence with Satoshi, and these email correspondences, which have never been made public before, are now in the public domain. And there's some really great examples of, reiterations of what we already know, how Satoshi felt about Bitcoin and the current traditional financial system, the downfalls, the inefficiencies, what have you. But also we get even more intimate insights over who he was aware of before he was launching Bitcoin and what terms he was also, maybe for many of you Bitcoin maximalists, surprisingly open to. I will get more into that at the end of this video, so please stick around. So I'm taking a lot from this video, a really well-written article from Wired titled "Bitcoin Royalty Descends on the Satoshi Nakamoto Trial." I really enjoy having well-written cryptocurrency articles, and this was another one of them. But in this article, they describe how Adam Back, Mike Hearn, Marty Malmy, and Zuku Wilcox O'Hearn were all given personal testimony in this court case over their personal correspondences with Satoshi in the very early days of Bitcoin. Adam Back, for example, was talking to Satoshi before the white paper was even released. For those of you who have read the Bitcoin white paper, you'll know that Adam Back was in fact mentioned and credited in that white paper for his efforts in creating proof of work as a means to combat spam on a network. And here, number one, the thing I love most about the fact that there's now over 100, 120, the 120 emails just from Marty Malmy, in addition to emails coming out from Adam Back as well, is this reintroduction to the general public. Not that, whoever is interested in learning about it. There's a lot of people who have been introduced to cryptocurrencies in the past 10 years even that aren't that familiar with the cypherpunk movement, with the efforts of other individuals in addition to Satoshi Nakamoto that have resulted in this creation of Bitcoin. And that's a really cool thing, is that Satoshi gets so much credit for what he's done in this invention of Bitcoin. But what has played an equally pivotal role in its creation is basically what Satoshi has done. I'll say this, is that he took a lot of moving parts, a lot of tools and solutions that have been found preceding his invention of Bitcoin. And what Satoshi did was he put all these moving parts together to create a foundation of a decentralized peer-to-peer network that doesn't rely on centralized authority for it to exist. And that's an amazing thing. Adam Back played a huge role in this. Wei Dai and his B money was actually very similar to Bitcoin and was being formulated right around the same time with Satoshi as well. We have David Chaum and his attempts at DigiCash, which ended up failing because of its reliance on a centralized authority. But that's what I would love to remind all of you in this whole this free open source network of information that is cryptocurrencies, is that Satoshi wasn't some guy who had one amazing idea that came completely out of the blue. He built on the successes of those who preceded him. So I'm going to cover specifically 2 emails from Satoshi to Marty Malmy. Let's just take a moment and imagine receiving an email from someone and it's signed Satoshi. I don't know. That's so cool. It's such a cool part of history that these people are really directly and personally involved in. And I think it's awesome. So here's what Satoshi has to say about energy consumption with the Bitcoin network. Are we ready? What do you think he's saying? It says here, ironic if we end up having to choose between economic liberty and conservation. If it did grow to consume significant energy, I think it would still be less wasteful than the labor and resource intensive conventional banking activity it would replace. The cost would be an order of magnitude less than the billions in banking fees that pay for all those brick and mortar buildings, skyscrapers, and junk mail credit card offers. signed Satoshi. And he is exactly right. This is a sentiment that Toby has voiced. Toby is not Satoshi, but he has definitely voiced this opinion over the past couple years of this argument of the energy consumption that the Bitcoin network requires to function versus fiat. And all of the intricacies, all of the global networks, all of the petrol, all of the human capital that is required, not to mention central banks and their proliferation of wars and fiat currencies and all of that bad stuff. Bitcoin, the energy that is used to support Bitcoin is peaceful, it is amazing, and it is freedom. And okay, let's go on to the next one. This one he's talking about, I found it was pretty interesting. After 18 months of working on the development of Bitcoin, Satoshi needed to take a break. Furthermore, he was busy with work. So I wonder, what was Satoshi's day job? If you have a guess, let me know in the comments down below. This is something that I haven't noticed in any of the previous publications from Satoshi's writing and all of his communications on the Bitcoin Talk forum and on the cryptography mailing list, MetsDAO. So here's this email. And let us note that Satoshi is not politically correct either. So that's kind of refreshing to see as well. Some people are using this email to further their narrative that Hal Finney was Satoshi, and some people have taken the complete opposite look. But he says here, Hal isn't currently actively involved. He helped me a lot defending the design on the cryptography list and with initial testing when it was first released. Hal Finney, fun fact for you guys, was the recipient of the first ever Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi himself. Satoshi here says he carried this torch years ago with his reusable proof of work. Hal Finney also did a ton of work for PGP, standing for Pretty Good Privacy, and the efforts toward encryption and privacy enhancing for communications online. Also, he says here, I'm not going to be of much help right now either. Pretty busy with work. What is his day job? And need a break from it after 18 months of development. It would help if there was something for people to use it for. We need an application to bootstrap it. Any ideas? Well, turns out being an alternative to fiat and a hedge against inflation has been perhaps the killer DApp for Bitcoin, looking now 15 years later. He's saying there are donors I can tap if we come up with something that needs funding, but they want to be anonymous, which makes it hard to actually do anything with it. And in further emails, he actually finds a donor to send $2,000 in the mail, snail mail, because he found that to be the most anonymous way to transact in currency at that time. Again, of course, he could have accepted Bitcoin as a transaction as well, but that was the second best option, was receiving fiat in the mail. I thought that was really interesting. And this last one, I would love to point out at the very end of this email, where Satoshi says, someone came up with the word cryptocurrency, ... Maybe it's a word we should use when describing Bitcoin. Do you like it? And to this, Marty responded, yeah, it sounds better than P2P digital cash. And fair enough, it definitely was. But this is for people. Now listen, I understand the sentiment between the delineation of Bitcoin and like all other cryptocurrencies, because with it being an open source technology, there has been a proliferation of scams and people taking the name cryptocurrency and kind of running it through the mud. But it comes with the package at this point. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, whether you like it or not. Out of the typings of Satoshi himself, he claims Bitcoin to be a cryptocurrency. And for that, I would love to just smash this whole debate of semantics and understanding that we are cryptocurrency, whether you like it or not, and we are up against the fiat traditional financial system, and that should could be a challenge in and of itself. So for you, as an investor, participant in cryptocurrencies, I encourage you to keep trying to find out the most decentralized, peer-to-peer, disruptive technology that are going to continue to make central banks like the ECB shake in their boots. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoy this content, if you like what we're about, I highly encourage you to go to learningcrypto.com, where you can become a member of the CT Club and get all of the information on Toby and I's activities with cryptocurrencies ourselves, where we're putting our funds, how we're managing this bull market, how we will be taking profits, and how we are using decentralized exchanges to the best of our ability. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later.